There is a sign under the snow pointing to a research station, and right now, that arrow is the only plan I have. My hands are going numb through the gloves, so if that building is empty, this video may be the last thing I leave. I can see something ahead, maybe a roof, maybe a wall, and I am walking toward it before the storm erases me. There is a rope in the snow, and it feels like someone expected people to crawl home through the weather exactly like this. The compass is spinning like it is confused, which is comforting because apparently even metal has no idea where we are. The station is closer now, but I swear the lights flickered once, like somebody inside noticed me arriving. This satchel was already on me when I woke up, and I am too cold to wonder why, until I get indoors. This marker says South Relay Annex 1954, which is impossible because this parka looks like it belongs here too. I made it to the wall, and it is real, freezing, and completely silent on the other side. The door is sealed with ice, but the handle moved a little, so I am going to force it before I lose feeling. It opened, and the air inside smells like dust, fuel, and something that has been waiting a very long time. I am inside now. There are coats on the hooks, but nobody answered when I shouted hello. I don't think I'm alone. There is a mug on the table with frozen tea inside, not old stains, actual frozen tea in the cup. The calendar says July 1954, but one square is circled in fresh pencil, and it is today's date. This locker has spare mittens, a razor, and a photograph torn exactly where a face should be. Every shelf is stocked, every tool is in place, and that makes this feel less abandoned and more interrupted. The windows are frozen from the inside, which should not happen unless this place lost heat suddenly and hard. There are wet footprints across the corridor, and they are not frozen yet, so something walked through here recently. I found keys labeled radio, generator, archive, and room 7, but the tag for outside is missing. The common room looks staged, like dinner ended, cards were dropped, and everyone left in the middle of breathing. This lamp is warm, and I do not mean emotionally creepy warm. I mean somebody lit it recently warm. Something just hit metal deeper inside the station, and I am trying very hard to believe it was the wind. It wasn't the wind, it was closer. Oh God, it's coming this way, I hear it. The smallest key says radio, and if there is any way to call for help, it has to be behind this door. I opened the radio room, and every switch is off, but one needle is already moving like it heard me. The radio just warmed up by itself, and I did not touch it, and I need that recorded clearly before anything else happens. It said my name once through static, very quietly, and I am not touching that microphone until it does it again. I know my own voice when I hear it scared. That was me, older, exhausted, warning me from somewhere impossible. I turned the volume down, but the voice got closer instead, like the sound was coming from the walls. I asked, "Who are you?" and the reply was only breathing, my breathing, but delayed by about 3 seconds. The signal meter is pegged past the red line, but there is nothing out here except ice and this station. Something is wrong. I am writing down every word now, because if the radio predicts me, I need proof before panic edits my memory. It just said, "Do not trust the map room," which is terrible advice because the map room is now exactly where I am going. If future me wants me away from the maps, then the maps are probably where the first real answer is hiding. The archive smells like mildew and cold paper, and every drawer is labeled with years that should be long gone. Every chart tells a story of the ice. This map has routes marked in red string, and one route starts outside exactly where I woke up. There is my name on the map, not printed. written in pencil beside a path across the ice. The crew photo has 7 people, but the 8th place is scratched away, and the caption underneath still says Lina. The log says I arrived during the whiteout, but the entry is dated 3 days from now. It makes no sense. Someone knew. The handwriting changes halfway down the page from the expedition leader's script into something that looks exactly like mine. I found an envelope addressed to Lina, no last name, and the wax seal cracked like it was already waiting. The photograph shows this room, this table, and me standing behind it, but the photo is older than my parents. In the picture, I look terrified, and someone wrote on the back, "She will return when the storm learns her voice." I am keeping the photo, even though every sensible part of me wants to leave it here and pretend paper can lie. The station just groaned overhead, not like settling wood, more like a giant hand pressed down on the roof. The storm is getting worse. The window went white in seconds, and I cannot see the yard anymore. I wiped a circle through the ice, and something moved outside, against the wind, instead of with it. God, it's freezing. And I heard that noise again. It's coming from in there. I don't know what to do. I can hear knocking through the wall. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 knocks. And it stops whenever I breathe too loud. There are old cables above the ceiling, all running toward the radio room, and some are warm under the frost. This insulation is burned, which means the station did not just freeze. Something overloaded every line at once. The power keeps dying in waves, but the radio room stays lit, because apparently the haunted machine gets priority. The flame bends toward the vent, not away, like the storm is breathing inward through the building. There is snow appearing on the floor inside, and I do not know whether the station is leaking or the outside is entering. The radio is crackling again from 2 rooms away, and this time it sounds angry that I stopped listening. I am going back to the radio, because when the impossible thing speaks, ignoring it somehow feels more dangerous. The voice just repeated a sentence I had only thought, not said, and now I am afraid of my own silence. It said, "When the hinge screams, do not open room 7, and I hate that I know exactly which door it means." Listen, the static is forming words before the voice arrives, like the storm is practicing how to become me. I did not open it yet, so either the book is lying, or I am already following a path I cannot see. The radio is warm as skin, and when I touched it, I heard myself whisper from inside the metal. Future me said the station does not protect you, it keeps you, and that is the first thing that sounded truly honest. My reflection in the dial is not moving perfectly with me, and I am choosing not to investigate that for 10 seconds. Someone typed transcripts of radio calls before they happened, and the next page begins with the words I am saying now. The page says I scream at dawn, which is rude, specific, and exactly the kind of prediction I want to ruin. The hinge down the hall just screamed, and I have never hated a correct warning more in my life. I have the key. The door is waiting, and my own voice begged me not to use it. Room 7 has a sign that says, "Do not open during storm," which means, of course, the storm wants it open. The scratches around this lock come from inside the room, and they are too low for a person standing upright. I am not opening it yet, I am just showing you the lock, because documentation is my new coping mechanism. There is no sound behind the door, but the silence feels arranged, like everyone inside is holding their breath. This plaque says acoustic chamber, not storage, so whatever happened here had something to do with recording sound. I found a tape player, and if this thing contains my voice too, I am officially outnumbered by myself. The tape is playing room noise, wind, footsteps, then me saying, "Please forgive me," which I have not said until now. I just said it because the tape made me, and that may be how this place teaches the future to happen. The padlock opened by itself when the tape ended, and I did not turn the key. I promise I did not. I am opening it only a little, because apparently curiosity is stronger than survival when survival gets confusing enough. Inside room 7, there is no monster, no body, just another radio facing the wall and broadcasting static. This radio has no power cable, no batteries, and no antenna, but it is receiving the storm louder than the first one. The diagram says the station was built around a natural signal trapped under the ice, which sounds scientific until it says hungry. The researchers were not calling for help. They were recording the storm until it learned to call back. Every cable under this station leads out to the ice ridge, not to another base, not to rescue, just out there. The note says if it knows your voice, it can find your door, which explains the knocking and absolutely nothing else. When I bring the microphone close, both radios echo me before I speak, like they are taking turns being tomorrow. The signal is not coming from a person. It is bouncing through the storm, the cables, the rooms, and maybe through time. I tuned lower, and for 1 second I heard dozens of Linas speaking over each other, all at different levels of fear. One voice said stay until daylight, another said run before daylight, and both sounded like they had already lost. There is a field headset connected to the outside cable, and I think it leads to whatever the first expedition found. The cable goes through the wall toward the yard, which means the next answer is outside, where every voice says not to go. I am going outside for 30 seconds only, and if future me hates that choice, she can yell more clearly. The door is barely moving. The wind is punching through the gap, and I already regret every brave sentence I just said. There are footprints circling the station, and they are fresh, deep, and exactly the same size as my boots. The prints match me perfectly, but they come from the locked room wall and go around the building twice. I am following the cable by touch because the storm keeps swallowing the yard, but the line is warmer than the air. Through the headset, I hear my own breathing from ahead of me, not behind me, which is a horrible direction for breathing. New footprints are forming 10 steps away, with nobody in them, pressing down one by one toward the station door. I am backing up now, because invisible feet with my shoe size are where skepticism goes to die. See, they're moving on their own. The antenna mast is humming, and every gust carries tiny fragments of my voice, like the storm is testing samples. The cable disappears into a hatch under the snow, and the hatch handle has my initials scratched beside the bolts. I cannot open it, but something underneath knocked back once, and the radio in my pocket answered with my name. I am going back inside before the snow starts writing my biography in footprints. I am inside, the door is locked, and there is snow on my sleeve spelling 3 letters I did not write. The letters say run, but the radio says stay, and I am starting to understand that every version of me chose wrong. I need a third option, so I am combining the map, the cable route, and every warning that accidentally helped me. There is a ridge east of the station where all the cables meet, and dawn hits it before the storm does. I am taking matches, a flare, the tape, and this camera, because apparently evidence is warmer than common sense. For the record, I have 2 hands, 2 arms, 2 legs, and one increasingly bad plan to beat a talking storm. The radio just said if you leave before sunrise, You become the voice that brings you back here. So I said maybe I bring myself back, because leaving is the only way anyone ever learns the warning. The tape started recording by itself, which means this moment is not ending, it is being archived for the next terrified Lina. The sky is turning blue, the storm is thinning, and something outside is using my voice to count down from 10. I am following the cable east, and every step I take appears on the old map before my boot touches snow. At the ridge, the cables meet in a frozen circle, and the radio signal is coming from directly under my knees. I am lighting the flare now, not to signal rescue, but to mark the place where the loop keeps closing. Future me, past me, whoever hears this, do not go outside unless you are ready to become the reason you survive. The wind just stopped completely, and for the first time since I woke up, the radio is not speaking. There are lights on inside the empty base now, and one figure at the window is raising a hand exactly like mine. The snow is falling upward, the flare is burning blue, and I think the station is deciding which Lina gets to leave. If this video reaches anyone, remember the first rule the radio gave me, because I finally know why it mattered.